Let chaos reign. Chaos Reign presents Kicked Out of Heaven, Volume 2 and 3, with my guest, Keenan Booker, God 720. Broadcast June the 9th, 2019. Enjoy.
The views expressed on Talk Real Solutions, hosted by Tyrone Thompson at TalkRealSolutions.com, are the views of Tyrone Thompson and do not reflect the views of TalkRealSolutions.com, YouTube, or etc. The content here belongs to Talk Real Solutions and its many contributors. Views and opinions expressed by all contributors belong to them and not TalkRealSolutions.com or Tyrone Thompson, the host, or etc. All data and information provided on the site is for informational purposes only. Talk Real Solutions makes no representations as to accuracy, completeness, correctness, suitability, or validity of any information on this site and will not be liable for any errors, omissions, or delays in this information or any losses, injuries, or damages arising from its display or use. All information is provided on an as-is basis.
All right. In the world where there's crime, corruption, rape, violence, rape, murder, theft, and all forms of atrocities that plague the world we live in today. What you witnessing, we are living in a state of chaos, and it'll take a greater or much extreme chaos to restore order in which the world we live in today. Good evening, black people. This is Chaos here. And tonight, I bring back the God 720. Mr. Keenan Booker, to wrap up and conclude his 3-volume set. And I did promise y'all that I was going to conclude and give you just enough, a nice snippet of 2 of the latest books that he released. One, Kicked Out of Heaven Volume 2, which was released back in 2016 or 2017. And he released Kicked Out of Heaven Volume 3, which is titled The Dragon Edition. The conclusion, to wrap up, a 3-part extensive look into the untold history of the white race from 700 to 17,000 AD. The number to call in for tonight's broadcast is 712-770-4160. The access code is 915411#. And always when you hit it, you must hit *6 to press 1 so I can see you on the queue. So if you're there, Mr. Booker, you got to press *6 1, I believe. It'll tell you as you call in so I can open your lineup. And if you know, I'll open it anyway, but just press that and I'll let you in. But before we get into tonight's discussion, I would like for everybody to go to TalkRealSolutions.com. Under Talk Real Solutions, you will see a 3-point plan for Black empowerment, Black achievement. And on a 3-point plan, you will see a list of Black-owned established banks still here in the United States of America. I believe there is a total of 30 banks that's Black-owned, still exist here in the United States. All that is in the website, as you could tell when you go into TalkRealSolutions.com. Also, you'll find the latest articles, news, and everything that is going around trending here in America and outside America. But mostly we focus here in America, what's going on here in our backyards. Also, you may also find this show on YouTube, Talk Real Solutions. On YouTube, you'll find the one with the nice little lion. That's the representation of the show. There you find all the latest shows, recordings, and broadcasts on YouTube as well. And as y'all know, that YouTube is going through its second sweep with all content creators. So they're going to probably evaluate every show from this point. And usually this is some of a clean process. And not only YouTube that's doing this, but it seemed to me that Streamlabs is having an issue too, just like a lot of these outlets. I think this is the time now before we go into the summer, because summer is very important, because summer is what I like to call revolutionary time in energy and spirits. If you look at history, a lot of things that set serious change happened during the summertime, or the beginning parts of summertime. You look at the 4th of July. That's when America became America during July of the 4th, when it was established, which they won the war against Britain. And there's other histories we can go into, the summertime and how the energy is very important. But y'all could do the research yourself. But like I said, we're on YouTube, so anybody that is, a regular content creator on YouTube, just be knowing that, it's going through its sweeps, checking everybody's, page, check everything clears out. Have no copyrights, certain wordings, all this foolishness, but, just be on the guard, Make sure you have your backup channels and, store all your information as possible. But, no further ado, I think I said everything. As always, call in to the call-in show. I give you the number again, 712-770-4160. The access code is 915411#. All right. For no further ado, I present to you the God 720, Mr. Keenan Booker. Good evening, Keenan Booker. Welcome again to Talk Real Solutions.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good, man. And it's funny, it's been now, I guess, over 2 years now since we did our first broadcast on the book. The first time when it was released back in 2016, I think. 2016. And then the second one came out in 2017, am I right?
Yes, the second and the third volume came out in 2017.
Oh, it came out today. I thought the third volume came out in like early 2018. But you're right. I think you're right. It came out that.
No, the third volume came out in 2017.
Oh, it came out at the end of it. Okay.
In November. The publishing date is November 26, 2017.
Okay. Well, the editions were finished back in that 2 years ago. But like I said, I have received my third and final installment of this wonderful masterpiece of history with pictures. That was a long-standing process, and it took a lot of work. Probably some sleepless nights to go into and doing all this research to compile this information. Am I right, Keenan?
Yeah, you can say that.
Yeah. Well, anyway, let's get into things. Before we go into the third volume, let's step forward in regards to the volume 2. And what is expected out of the volume 2 that people don't know about that separates?
What is expected?
No, what separates it?
Oh, what separates volume 2 from volume 1?
Yeah, 1 and 2, yeah.
Well, volume 2 is the subconscious. There's these 3 books are designed. Volume 1 is the conscious mind, volume 2 is the subconscious mind, and volume 3 is the unconscious mind. It's 3 layers of the psyche, and the book is psychoanalytical. It's behavior analytical. There is comedy in there, but volume 2 is specifically the subconscious mind in relation to hallucinations is what I first take you through, and how these hallucinations or a highly illusionative mind, I don't even know if there's a word for what I'm trying to say, but a highly imaginative mind that's better, was developed off of the conditions of the environment and a lot of intake. So we're talking about alcoholism, we're talking about lead poisoning, we're talking about the jankum, the different diseases that were all documented to enforce hallucinations. And I also put the extremes of the experiences that were documented from the intake of the alcoholism, lead poisoning, so on and so forth. The ergotism, and ergotism is very serious because ergot is the root chemical in LSD that was given out in the 60s and so forth. So after that, and we go through some medical after that, because of course, the high drug intake or the high alcohol intake is going to bring medical conditions. The medical conditions are also related to a lot of diseases that were going on. And some of these diseases were STDs that are talked about in the book. After that, we go into the plague. I don't know. Oh, no, not the plague. We don't go into the plague yet. I'm sorry about that. There's the manias, and the manias are very important. The manias, the dancing mania, the tulip mania, the pineapple mania, the Negro mania. There's a lot of different manias. We're in a mania right now. This mania I like to call the beauty perfection mania. And a mania is when you take an element of existence to its full extremes on both ends. And then, due to its extremity, it gets encountered with law and finance. And then once it's embedded in law and finance, it becomes an element for the atmosphere that all humans are automatically rolled through and operate with once it's in the atmosphere, and it's in the atmosphere by law and finance. So, the dancing mania, for instance, which you see today. You see it when you're at the stoplight and there's a crackhead dancing there for no reason. The vagabonds and the bums of the country that are rising in high numbers repetitively dance. You see these flash mobs of this dancing. You remember in the 2000s there was a lot of dance movies and the marching band movies and all of this. All of this is dancing mania. There's a lot of African tribes do a lot of dancing. In the voodoo systems that I'm studying right now, there's a lot of dancing. Okay? Now, on one side of the scale, these dancing can also take you into high levels of euphoria and can take you off into different dimensions from the consistent gases that get created from the breaking of your cartilages in your knees and in your toes and in your elbows and all of that. The consistent joint moving, brings the whole body and the nervous system into different dimensions, supposedly. But for that to occur, it would be a long line of dancing. The dancing at this time period, which went on for 300 to 500 years, each mania that I just referred to earlier lasts for it's a cycle that lasts for about 300 to 500 years to go through, full rounds of experiences that are capable for that one element, which would be dancing. And it got to a point where hundreds of people were dancing on bridges and they all drowned because they broke the bridge. There's reports of individuals dancing in one location until they drilled a hole underneath them all the way up to their knees while they continued to dance. And that's something you've already seen in Warner Brother cartoons with Bugs Bunny.
Roger Rabbit?
Not Roger Rabbit, but Bugs Bunny is what I meant to say. With Bugs Bunny and all of that, I've seen it where you're dancing in one location and then all the dirt around you drill yourself into the ground basically from continuously moving your feet and dancing. So that's documented in the book as well. So, and it got so violent where this stuff had to enter into law, about they had to outlaw dancing, because there was a lot of crazy scenarios. And it's all documented. People were killing themselves. People were, they would dance up to a building and bash their head up against the building until the brains flew out. That was...
Oh, God.
Yeah, that's in volume 2. So then also what would incite them to dance were specific colors, red, green, yellow, and black, are documented to incite violence or violent reaction out of Europeans and sometimes to cause this dancing. That's just one thing. The tulip mania was more of a financial situation that helped build the levels of the stock market and how it goes up and down. Same with the yelling of the word cherry, which is a symbol that you see up in casinos and all of that. There's a lot of hardcore magic that's going on here, and volume 2 is the seed of it. After these manias, which colors are also explained. There's also a color mania in there where I just explain, how colors were defined during those times and the purposes for them when it comes to the blasons and the heralds and, the signs and the symbols, okay? Now, after that, we go into the plagues. The plagues also enforced high-level hallucination, and there was also a lot of activity that is extremely foreign to what you could guesstimate in your own mind right now. Okay? For instance, looking at a pit of 10,000 bodies, there's many reports of individuals that were thrown in 2 pits and were only in the status of a coma and woke up out of their coma, and they had dead bodies all around them, the red marking on doors that were done by grave diggers who had to the henchmen who had to go door to door collecting bodies, you know what I'm saying? They shut them up and they put the red mark on the door. The abracadabra symbol was used to reflect against the plague. You have to understand that the plague, which was an unknown source, there's really no true definition on what the origins of them were. There were so many diseases going on at the time that they all fit underneath the term plague. Now you have to understand, like I said with the dancing mania, the plague also fit inside the space of a mania because there's a hardcore repetition in between 1347 all the way to 1667. Okay, the first one is the Black Death. Okay, 1347. That took out anywhere from 25 million to 100 million people. There's reports of 10,000 people dying in a week. You know, some people went so insane that, you know, they would just wrap themselves in a sheet and just run all the way to the pit and then just jump into the pit where the bodies were at, and they would die by the time they hit the bodies. You know, the streak that you see in Elmira's hair from the Addams family is documented to be situations that occurred in the plague where they were scared to death or scared of fright, and that fright would change the color of their hair. And also situations that you've seen on cartoons of characters turning pale and then falling and dying, all of that is documented from experiences of the plague. The plague lasted for 400 years in different formats. Dysentery, which is a disease that usually gets caught onto infants. You know, you bleed with diarrhea until you die. The sweating sickness, you sweat until you die. And usually that would happen in the span of anywhere from 24 to 48 hours. You have to understand, bro, that these events are well documented. They were so well documented that they had to be true due to the fact that we use phrases. Feeding a person with a long-handled spoon is a situation that comes from the plague. Talking to somebody from behind the door, somebody knock on the door, and you say, "Nobody's here right now." That's the type of shit happened from the plague. Walking down the street and yelling at somebody across the street and ignoring them, that shit came from the plague. Spitting on the sidewalk is not a situation where you got hung in slavery. That is a traumatic event that happened to Europeans before they even encountered Africans. And that was a law in Europe that if you spit on the sidewalk, we'd hang you, because they didn't know, that they thought that was, you know, a promotion of the plague, as spitting also fit in certain areas of witchcraft, you know. And then dogs, keeping dogs in the home. Dogs were hunted during the plague and were kept to keep out of cities because they were also blamed for the plague. Now, there's also criminal reasons on why the plague may have started. There's definitely health conditions when we look at the totality of the environments. So there's a lot of different reasons. There was cases of Christians plaguing Jews by putting poison in the whale, and vice versa with Jews plaguing Christians. There's also reports of henchmen and what they called highwaymen that would plague whole cities and rob every house, you know. And after that section, we go into the folklore, which is the understanding of individuals like the wild man, the green man. We go over the Pied Piper, and we go over some definitions of what a troll is, what a sprite is, what a fiend is, you know. And then we go over the occult serial killers come next, I do believe. And these individuals are serial killers of Europe who collected the amount of anywhere from 500 to 1,000 bodies were their body counts. And there's several of them that are documented in there, including Peter Stump, who is known to be one of the most famous werewolves of Germany. And this is not the werewolf section, though, which is also in Volume 2. After the occult serial killer section, we go into the witches. We go into all elements about witchcraft. We go into the Sabbath, why witches fly on brooms, what the symbology of the broom is. We go into the phallus tree, where witches collect men's phalluses and put them in a tree. And we also go over the osculum infame, where that is the obscene kiss. And then you go over, what else is next? I explain what death is, the caricature that you see of today wearing a robe, wearing the black monk robe, if you pay attention. It's a monk robe he wears, and holding the scythe. I explain his origins, and then which is also correlated to the plague, because the plague is so strong, that they had to caricaturize the energy that was moving around. Because you have to understand, bro, the plague hopped over cities, took out one city, left one city alone, took out 3 more cities, then left another city alone. It hopped over houses. Sometimes the plague will only take out the men. Sometimes the plague will only take out the children. It had a mind of its own. And
they were taking
out
the women?
Huh?
And they were taking out the women, the plague? They take men and too?
Plague, the women don't have a high number of deaths during the plague. And that is also one reason why, that can be looked at as a reason that they started to pick up the image of a witch. But see, on a higher level of alchemical understanding of what's going on here, the destruction of the witch is the destruction of a lot of ancient energy that didn't even come from the medieval times. It just got drafted over. Yeah. So, and then after that, we go through the vampires, we go through the undead. The undead is the true parent of both your zombie and your Dracula. Okay, so I had to, the zombie and the Dracula are both one and the same. They're just different variations. Same with the werewolf, because they're all bloodsuckers. So
parasite, in other words.
Parasite. There's a lot of different psychological levels on how you have to look at a lot of this stuff to understand really what's going on. But after that, we go into the werewolves and lycanthropy and werewolfism, which is different from lycanthropy. So we go into all of that, and then we go into Satan himself. And then I'll show you the Codex Gigas, and we talk about it as the black man, the devil, and then that's it. And what you have to understand is that all of this stuff was going on at the same time. Everything in Volume 1 and Volume 3 was going on. So, the action was jam-packed over there. And now we see why they had the age of exploration. It makes more sense on why nobody else left their continents, but they did.
Yeah. With the help of some of the Moors at the time, because some of them, if you think back in their time, they always thought the world was only flat. And they feel they go a certain section of the world, they'll fall off. Yeah. And it's funny I mentioned that because you notice, Keenan, that for the past, was it last year or the year before last year? I think I would say last year most. I can't remember. But a lot of these dudes will bring up about this flat Earth theory again. You know what I'm saying? And I just said, what goes in the mind of people that sit and listen to something that was either debunked centuries ago, or they just put it out there just for more confusion? Because a lot of people don't really study and understand how the geographics of the world, how everything works in a way. And mind you, these people, like I said, the Europeans during that time when they, even now, they're thinking how they live, that, you know, they came to a point now once they got civilized, per se, with the help of our people, that they now, like you said, start to explore the world to see what's out there, you know, because in their little environment, it's been like hell. Plagues, deaths. I mean, there was a point where you remember before even the 700s that they know certain knowledge and they kind of let it go because they think it was of no use, and they just fell into this darkness for 100 years to the point where they could have almost went extinct without the help of our people, if you think about it. You know? Because if we go through some tragedy like that, I'm not saying we would not be here, but for them to go for what they did, it took some of luck that they survived all that crap. And I say that's why we see why they think the way they do in their aggression, because they have to always have a constant survival mode. Because they know they're not going to eat tomorrow or they're going to be around. You know? Yeah. One thing I do want to, and one thing, let me give the call one more time. And y'all guys could call it, take questions before we go on third line. The call number is 712-770-4160. The access code is 915-411-pound. I repeat, 712-770-4160. The access code is 915-411-pound. And I think we're uploaded on YouTube. I got to double check right now, because I know this is streaming on YouTube as well. Give me a second, people. All right, let me just type it up. But let me ask my question. One thing that I've never got through chapter 2, because I'm trying to wrap up 1, is in regards to magic. Now, a lot of people don't understand when we call alchemy and magic, it's all a form of science. Can we agree, Keenan?
Yeah.
Yeah. And with this science, they have to use this same science to correct certain things that come in their way in regards to deaths and plagues. And others, even used as to control people. I'm not sure if you want to go in a little bit more about that, the magic part. And it's like,
well, I mean, bro, you have to understand, the traumas that I just talked about has their brain and has their trial and error experience rate very high. The magic that's put in place, bro, that I understand shouldn't even be understood, you know, because these are very deep patterns that have been built into the unconscious mind of how people are operating right now, and a lot of people won't have any identity if a lot of these areas get erased. And they're not going to build their own identity neither. You know, because they don't know how. Like, you have to understand, bro, like, names of people have hundreds of years of magic embedded in them. Now, when I say hundreds of years, I'm talking about a multitude of different experiences and classifications that word was applied to. You know, like, for instance, the last name Smith. This is just an example. The last name Smith, it's a popular last name. You know, that could have been a slang term in Scotland for shit. for 200, 300 years. And now this person who has the last name Smith has to work as a plumber, or has to work as a janitor, or is caught in the realm of vagabondism, or or makes a profession off of cleaning dog poop in the park. And that is his dimension because of one word applied to him. That's what I'm telling you, bro. This shit is serious. Yeah. Okay? This shit is very serious. A lot of the words that you use right now, a lot of the words that we think we're using, I mean, even in the voodoo system, even in African tribes and all of this shit, man, are loaded with all types of energies that you know that a lot of people know nothing about, bro, and are going to apply to them whether they like it or not.
I see.
Yeah. You know. Words are the original applications. Okay? Yeah. The strongest magic system that has ever been used on this planet is the English language. There's never been a magic system on this planet that is stronger than the English language.
It's the most dominant language so far right now because pretty much, I'm not sure what's the percentage of the world speak English. I think it's over 60%?
It is a magic system. The majority of the words that you use and the octaves and how words are put together inside the English language have over 700 years of age to them, 500 years of age to them. Right. I'm talking about words that they're just now bringing out in new songs and new styles and new fashion. That's how styles and fashions and everything change. They change all by words, bro. Words that have been loaded up hundreds of years ago with all types of human sacrifice and sex involved in them. Because you got to have both in order to make life.
Okay. Hey, I see some people raise their hands. You want to take a few questions so far?
Yeah, sure.
All right. First person to open up. Miss Lady, I'm not sure if that's you. Hello?
Yeah, I think that was me. Yeah, I didn't know what I was doing to get in.
No, don't worry about it. I just opened the line.
Okay.
Hello, I open your line.
Hi, Gary. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hey, Gary. Hello, guest. Thank you for coming on. I'd like to ask the guest a question.
Yes, go ahead.
Mr. Booker, are you familiar with a minister by the name of Brother Theo?
No.
There's a site on YouTube called Unplug'em, UNPLUGEM. The icon is a fist, and he talks about very similar things. He has a show that he calls the Songwriter's Secrets, the secrets of songs and the language that's used and what's really being told, and it's very interesting. You remind me of him a bit. Also, his name is Brother Theo. Also, Mama's Boy, one of the other hosts, gave a brilliant show on Kicked Out of Heaven, your first book, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I was hoping he was listening.
That was 2 years ago.
Huh?
That was 2 years ago, Gigi. I'm not sure if Mom Boy's still on T.R.S, but I like the time when he mentioned, the time when he mentioned that book, when I did a little dig up to know a little bit more about it, and I went out my way and bought the first 2 volumes from Keenan, and Q could vouch for me. I bought straight from the publisher himself.
Well, you did. You did a great job. Thank you so much, Gary. Also, I guess I got a little confused. You said the vampire and the something are the same. The
vampires and zombies.
Oh, so a vampire and a zombie are the same creature?
Yeah, they're just different variations. So one is a more animalistic form, and then one is a more human form.
Okay.
Yeah, you see, because they both come from the dead. They have to die in order to come back alive. So you have to understand that, once again, we're looking at alchemy, and life is sex. So they have to create a more seductive side of the scenario in order for it to survive. Because when it's seductive, women invite it, and then it becomes life. It stays in existence. Okay. You see, the undead characters of old Europe are not seductive. They're violent, and they come back for revenge. And usually you couldn't even come back out of the grave unless you were a necromancer before you went into the grave. So when time started going on and Europe started to gain more etiquette, per se, towards how they operated, a lot of these entities had to be caricaturized in a different format in order to survive in front of the world. So that's where you get Count Dracula from, who is a more sexualized individual and more seductive and romantic. Therefore, the women fascinate about it, as is right now True Blood or The Twilight and all of these other shows about vampires are supported by women, which keeps the whole zombie element in existence.
Oh, I see.
And that's very interesting to bring out, because
you have to understand that the theater, the stage, is the playground of gods.
Correct.
So when you're looking at
the term theater, have you ever heard of the term hermetic theater?
No.
Okay, I think that's what this is supposed to be. It's kind of like when you look at the media and movies, and they're really showing you what's really happening, but we think it's theater. It's just, myths and fables and fairy tales, as opposed to what's actually going on.
What's happening is that, let me show you what's happening when it comes to theater and the stage. You're following characters, and you believe in the characters that you follow. Their decision-making rewires your mind on how you decide and operate because of your belief inside of that character and what they do or don't do throughout the course of the film or throughout the course of the show. You have interwoven your emotions with unknown beings because they're on a higher stage of life than you. Hence, you are looking up. They place themselves as gods, and that's what you have accepted by paying them to watch them live out their story.
Wait.
Exactly.
Wait, you say they're on a higher plane, or is that just...
Yeah, when you go to a theater, they're on the stage, you're in the seats.
Oh, I see what you're saying, okay.
Right. So that makes them literally on a higher plane, and you are literally looking up to them. That's why the only individuals who sit up in the high-rise spots are the billionaires, who are also gods like the ones on the stage. Right.
Interesting.
Right. So what happens is your mind fired up by
the ones with the box seats, right? The ones with the box seats. So they got a better view of the stage, and then you still have to look up at them anyway.
Yeah. They're the ones who own the whole arena. Those are demigods.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. There's a whole nother level of existence going on, and humans don't know what they're doing, and they're running themselves around in a hamster's wheel, and that's why you see all this mental health scenarios, because they're not humans. You don't have the capacity of thinking and reading on your own by majority rule. So for those who involve themselves in bullshit, they get caught with any consequence that comes, whether your suffrage is long or short.
Yep. All right, Gigi, let me open the next line.
Okay.
Stay on board. The next line, who's this?
Yeah, what's going on? This is Alquan.
What's going on?
What we have here, Alquan, I just saw in your chat you post something. What's up? What's on your mind?
Yeah, I got two things I want to get into. Number one, how come black people keep saying that the Moors assisted the white man? That's number one. And number two,
I said it.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of people been.
Yeah, go ahead. I get you. Go ahead.
Yeah, a lot of black people been floating that around for a while. And also, what's with this kooky stuff? Are you speaking fiction or non-fiction or metaphorical? I mean, I'm trying to figure out where you're going to the guest.
Well, I'm speaking in a reality format that's at a very high level of understanding. So if you're not at a certain level of understanding of existence, you're not going to be able to pierce areas of the folklore and areas of mythology and understand it as a reality.
Okay, so how do I get to this higher level of understanding? Because we had a guest that used to call in all the time, and she would say, she had higher levels of understanding and all that other stuff.
This is what you do.
Never tell us how to do it.
This is what you do. This is what you do. You read books that are written before the 1960s on these subjects: psychology, sociology, anthropology, especially of tribes. Native American tribes would be good. Nordic tribes would be good. African tribes would be good. You need to understand biology. You need to understand human anatomy. You need to understand astrology and bioastrology as well. You also need to understand foods. You need to look at minerals and understand minerals and how they're combined. Because all of these subjects are unified. You have to understand sex. You have to understand pathology. You have to study these subjects. I have studied these subjects for the past 20 years of my life independently. The majority of the books that I've read are written before 1960s, and a good amount of them are 1800s and before.
Okay, and then so, you do.
Wait, stop right there, Keenan. So you said after the 60s, the books that came out after the 60s have been altered? Or it's hard to find.
Oh, what happens is yes, language has been altered very drastically since the 1800s. When you pay attention to the dictionaries that have come out in between, specifically 1850 and 1950, you'll see a very big change in a lot of words that were taken out. The majority of the cuckold words and witchcraft language was taken out of the English language as many other elements connected to words defining magic principles were taken out of the standard language usage. And that's also where you get the cleanup of the multitude of wars that came up after that to destroy the higher levels of understanding of existence that was going on this planet. That's why World War I, World War II, and all that shit showed up. It showed up to clean up the men. That maintained these stories, maintained a higher unison amongst each other, maintained oral history to pass down, and higher levels of respect that we no longer have today. So you definitely got to understand mythology. You got to have a lot of sex with a lot of different races of women. You gotta have some dope in your system. And that had to have done when you were young. So you gotta experience weed. You gotta experience ecstasy. You gotta experience some other shit. So you can.
You have the experience of having killed somebody too.
No,
Okay, it sounded like you were throwing everything in there,
Well, I've delivered a child.
Come on, man. Come on.
You asked me how do you get a higher level of understanding. I'm explaining it.
Yeah.
All right, I get the feeling I'm about to be restricted, but Gary, can you answer the question why you feel that the Moors helped the white man?
No, I'm saying this, Alquan. If he'd have killed somebody, you think he'd be on the phone right now? He'd be doing time in jail right now.
Yeah, I mean, if he got away with it, yeah.
Here's the thing about killing somebody, man. If you're born to do it, bro, then you'll never get caught for it.
Okay, well, I'm not going to argue that. But there's some people that kill that and still walk away free. And you know what we're talking about. That's my story. Yeah. Well, yeah, like Keenan Booker said, Alquan, you have to stay right of things. And not just that, but have an understanding. I mean, I read books when I get a chance, and some books I complete, some I don't, but I make the effort, and I'm not going to get it all in one swoop. It's going to take time.
Reading books is the finite line that divides animal and man. If you aren't a reader, you are an animal.
Oh, so before books were created, man was an animal.
There's never a time man was without words.
No, you said books.
All right. Man, a book is composed of words.
Yeah, but they had to be put and written down somewhere.
Hey, right, that developed over time, you know.
But then
we merged with
most of the time. Matter of fact, most of our existence, there were no books.
No, that is not so.
No, there was always something written. You know that, right, Alcorn?
Exactly. There's always things. There's always
not in words.
No. Listen. Remember, and Keenan would vouch for me. If you look at even the ancient Egyptians, they wrote certain things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but according to the white man, they only go back around, 5,500 years or 6,000 years.
Well, that's what they want you to know. But you have to really research to dispel that myth.
Yeah, I suggest that people read books by men who cared about what they were writing, about men who.
How do you determine who those people?
And not only cared, but they kept the truth.
In ancient times, humans had far more respect for what they were doing and how they operated with each other.
Not true, because Romans, Greeks, they had propaganda in their writings, you know.
And they still have their writings to this day.
Okay, but that doesn't mean that you said they have respect. They didn't have respect when they said in other groups. When they got on top, they said,
when did the red ant respect the black ant?
No, I'm going by what you said. You said men had more respect back then when they were writing. I'm trying to tell you, man, they didn't have any respect.
Just like I just expressed to you, a red ant isn't going to protect the black ant, brother. They don't have to respect you.
But you just said man had more respect back in the days.
They did. Are you getting it? They did have more respect. They don't have to respect you because that is not a biological clause that I have to respect somebody of any other.
You're confusing the issue because I didn't say anything about respecting us. You said respect, period.
No, yeah, that is a respect.
Right, so I just pointed out some points of disrespect from Roman.
Okay, and that's a part of the whole yin and yang. What's the problem? Just because
I think there's a whole lot of problems. But
respect one man doesn't mean I don't have respect for the next.
All right, Gary, you can mute me, man. I think you know how this is gonna go.
I'm not muting nobody. Listen, if you're gonna be firm, I'm gonna be firm because people can play this game with you.
All right, then I feel you getting into some kooky craziness right now, man.
Who?
How is it crazy?
Because he can't explain himself. When you can't explain
I just said it. Let's be clear. I respect one man. That does not mean I don't have to disrespect the next. Is that clear for you?
But that's not clear because you said...
It is clear.
You said, my man, you said back in the days, men had respect when he was writing.
You have respect, so I'm still a respectful individual. I've respected 10, and I've disrespected 1.
That doesn't make sense because you said
it does make sense because there's more people around.
Then I brought up the Romans and how they disrespected people. Other groups disrespected
they
people.
They can do that. What are you talking about? Hyenas disrespect lions.
That contradicts what you said. You said back in the days when men used to write.
That does not contradict. It just shows you have a lower level of thinking.
Oh, okay, that's how it works. That's what other people, when they call here, too. And
No, you're not computing what I'm telling you because you're not computing existence correctly. You see, I can disrespect you if I want to. I can respect the next man if I want to. When I leave my house, I go respect everybody up in the casino, and I'm a respectful individual. And if you step on my shoes, I'm going to disrespect you. You get it?
I get it.
Is that clear for you, bro?
But I'm going to tell you this, though. I think the reason why I'm not getting it is because, and the truth is, I don't think you get it, and I don't think there's anything...
No, you don't get it, bro. Cut the line, man. I don't got...
Next person.
I don't got time for inferiors, bro. Like, you is nowhere near my level, dog.
Next line.
I've just been listening about 10 minutes, and one thing I tell you, I'm really glad I went to law school years ago because it really teaches you how to think analytically.
and not to jump to conclusions without knowing them. I just hear a lot of stuff people say on this line. They make statements, they make innuendos, they are very disrespectful to guests, to each other, and this is why I think black people cannot move forward at all. Can I ask, who is the gentleman that's speaking? Is this Brother G?
No, this is Keenan Booker. This is the guy that wrote the book called Kicked Out of Heaven, Volumes 1 through 3. I brought back.
I'm sorry, what is your name, sir?
My name is Keenan Booker.
Keenan Booker?
Yeah.
And what is the name of your book, and what are you what is your proposition, or what are you advocating in your book?
Well, I've written 6 books, and I'm on my 7th right now. My first book is an autobiography. My second book is a philosophy. My 3rd through 5th book is medieval history, a series called Kicked Out of Heaven, Volume 1 through 3, The Untold History of the White Races, from circa 700 to 1700 A.D. The 6th book is called The Ethereal Law.
Oh, The Ethereal Law. That's interesting.
Yes.
That's an interesting title. Now, I came in when you were talking about the demigods being the celebrities, the very wealthy, the people sitting above everybody else and everybody else looking up to them, like physically, like in a lower position. Mm-hmm. So I guess that includes those mega preachers and even little storefront preachers that has a captive audience. Mm-hmm. Looking up to him. Now, can I ask you, who determines if they're demigods, and what is the definition of a demigod, and who determines whether someone is a demigod or not? And then could you talk about your 6th book quickly?
Well, in all reality, your intelligence and your finance is going to put you in the position of demigod, which in our current Western culture is designed in a situation that can actually be played as a game. So, as long as you get to the billions, and I'd say 50 billion plus, 100 billion plus, you're demigod status.
When you're at 100 billion plus?
Yeah.
Well,
and that could still be, and that's from my intelligence, that number could be very well adjusted because there's trillionaires walking this planet. So.
But we don't know who they are, right? I mean, we don't know. They're like the hidden.
I know who they are.
You do?
Yeah, simple research. Simple research, you can find out all their names, what they were doing. Earlier today, I was researching the stock market on slave ships. Did you know there was a stock market for slave ships? And we just now learning the stock market, and it's been in their blood for 400, 500 years.
Oh, yeah. Actually, the stock market, that's what really creates the stock market, slaves. I've been knowing that for some time now. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the stock market was going on before that in order to build castles and to finance wars, bro. A lot of the stuff, I'm going to tell you right now, from what I know, and I have all black scholars' information in my home, their information isn't detailed, and it's not reliable, brother. None of it.
I know there was insurance placed on the slave ships because slaves were held as cargo, and if the cargo was damaged or died, then the slave owners wanted to.
Yeah. Well, in my next book, the Voodoo Edition, there'll be a long list of all the tribes that were kidnapping other tribes and selling them as slaves. We'll be talking about the kings of different African tribes that sold their wives to traders.
Oh, yeah. Right? No. Actually, that is true. Well, because no one has never brought this. You understand, Miss Lady, and be honest, Keenan. If you look at the average black scholar, because every person that brings information is a constant process. Every decade, generation or so. So a lot of them never got it like that.
I'm going to tell you right now, anybody who comes out of a university is
back to the tribe. The disrespect of black women goes way back to the African tribes.
Say that again?
I said, so the disrespect of black women goes all the way back to African tribes.
Well, at that time, it wasn't a mind frame of disrespect. Well, you have to understand, it goes back to the 1940s. If you want to get literal, no woman could run her mouth in the 1940s. It didn't matter if you were Mexican, white, or black. They'd all get spanked or smacked in the street in America.
That's true.
So well, women couldn't get their tubes tied without their husband's consent, written consent at one time. They couldn't own property in their own name. But,
African tribals, man, by standard, had anywhere from 40 to 200 wives.
And what age, what time frame are you speaking of?
This time frame is in the 1400s, 1500s, 1600s. Well, it started dwindling over time as the people were dwindling. But in the 1400s, the kings of Dahomey, the king of Wida, and many other locations, the kings of the Fons or the Oos, they would all have 200. The kings would have about up to 1,000 wives, but the regular tribals men would have anywhere from 40 to 200 wives.
My goodness. And so, I like to say when men talk about women keeping their mouth closed or they should shut their mouth, I know Bezos is very happy his wife gave him the idea to start Amazon. Okay, so that's just a very archaic, thank God that idea, that philosophy is being stomped on, kicked out, and because women are not having it at this point. Society doesn't move forward when you oppress women that way. In fact, women tend to...
that's backwards, darling. Society doesn't move forward when women are out running their mouths.
When they're oppressed, they does not.
There's no such thing as oppression. Was it oppression when a caveman was dragging a cave woman by her hair?
You don't know if...
Is that the nature of our relationship?
Well,
because it seems as if women have lost mass respect.
It's a very demonic relationship. A lot of women are not connected to demons. So I'll be quiet at this point.
All right. What you were saying, Keenan Booker?
I was just saying that could be the nature of our relationship. Because as soon as we started singing to women and giving them roses, we've lost respect. Yeah, basically is what happened. The reality to it is that women are asking for rights. Women have never put a tampon inside a Walgreens or a Walmart. We've done that for you. We sing songs for you women. We do everything. We put your little lingerie in the store. Now, do you put the boxers in the store for us? What do women do industrially or in society that states we love men, we support men? Because we do everything for you. We put the little lipstick you use. Men get whale blubber from whales at the bottom of the ocean to go in your little makeups. Yeah, you didn't know that, do you? Because we're all disrespectful. We don't understand how our environment is built. So therefore, since we don't have any understanding, we don't have any experience, nor are we going to educate ourselves about it, we don't have any respect towards our neighbors, and then mental health rises, and we got 14-year-old girls blowing their brains out everywhere. That's your environment right now, because you don't know how to respond. You're watching TV. You think TV is going to tell you about women's rights and hoorah. Okay. Well, if that is the element, since women can do everything, if men were to shut down all of their industries and access for women for a week, all of you would be done.
Damn.
Now tell me what car mechanics, what car locations, are ran by women. Tell me what insurance companies are ran by women. Tell me, come on, let's go there. Tell who is making oil. Did you know gasoline is extracted from oil? Who extracts gasoline from oil? As a matter of fact, I think there's oil rigs all the way out in the middle of the ocean where men have to live on there for 6 months straight with no access to technology, their family or women, and pump oil out of the bottom of the ocean floor. There's no women out there doing that. There's no women blowing up mountains to drill highways through there so milk can get to little kids in elementary schools. So don't do it, because you're not looking at the entirety of existence and what is occurring. And the disrespect that is coming from women towards men is phenomenal.
It's astonishing. You think about it. No,
because women do not industrially add to society in a format.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
You're not drawing blueprints by majority rule. You're not laying concrete. You're not moving cranes.
Mm-hmm.
So respect is the key word here.
Oh, yeah. Get it? Thank you. All right. Let's moving on. And to those to call in, I'll give you that call number one more time. The call number is 712-770-4160. The access code is 915-411-pound. I repeat, 712-770-4160. The access code is 915-411-pound. Tonight's subject, for those who are listening, Chaos Reign presents Kicked Out of Heaven, Volumes 2 and 3. Now, on to the third and final edition of the trilogy.
Lord have mercy, brother. It is phenomenal how the brain gets developed when you're experienced and when you read, B, especially when you deal with other races, man. You can really see a picture that's cold, But Volume 3, let's do it. What you got? Let's shoot some questions.
All right. Well, I can't go much because I just got mine, as you know, I just got it a few days ago. But I will say this. We deal with the church. And it's funny. I remember Tyron talked about the religious part because a lot of people will sit there. Our people are very much Christian by, program and don't understand Christianity, the ins and outs, or study it.
Mm-hmm.
But in this volume, it deals with the church itself. And it also has some very interesting pictures, some astonishing pictures of us. And probably the Inquisition and the Rome and the Moors that played. That's in the book. Well, one thing I would like to say, what is really the church and the purpose of the church from your perspective?
Okay, well, the church, you're talking about the Catholic way. Let's call it the Catholic way, and I say the Catholic way because Americans don't get the O, which is omnipotent.
Mm-hmm.
America is designed off of witchcraft and does not have the true keys of Catholicism with it.
Mm-hmm.
Only in a magic context, which you see every day. Streets, neighborhoods, and all of that other stuff named after saints. There's over 4,000 to 5,000 saints. The way I go about it and the way I understand it is not a way that is presented by the Catholic way, nor is it known by me, nor do they know that I look at it in this format. But there's a lot of black Marys. I mean, there's some black nuns. There's black Madonnas everywhere. There's black archangels. Okay, it's basically set up in a scenario where there's a whole black version that I would like to say is specifically for African Americans. Now, we have to understand, once again, the psyche. Psyche is based off of a spiritual understanding. So, as we were drafted out of Africa, we had a low-done understanding, voodoo, okay, which is correlated with a lot of necromancy, correlated with the worship of the ancestors, and it is, well, let me just put it to you like this. Voodoo does not have a concept of heaven.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, let that sink in, B.
Mm-hmm.
You got to let that one sink in. So, yeah. So what happened was is they got dragged to the islands. Catholicism battled voodoo. The English was in there. The French was in there. As voodoo was being battled and depleted. Now you have to understand that a lot of the slaves, when they first came to the islands, they were dying. So about every 10 to 20 years, the whole island system was replenished with new slaves from Africa. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So they were repetitively trying to beat out the system. As they were trying to beat out the system, the tribal people hid their system underneath the Catholic system. So basically, they would go to the churches and act like they're praising the saints, but they embedded their entities and laws inside the saint. So then what happened is that these saints have patronages that they stand over and attributes that are connected to them. These patronages and these attributes are the elements that black people are under right now in America. You're either going to fall underneath the Catholic system or you're going to fall underneath the voodoo system. If you fall underneath the voodoo system, you are stricken with single motherism, criminal activity, birdism, and a lot of other shit that's going on over there that I have to explain because it's a double system, basically. Voodoo, Vodun is a double system, and then it also has a battery, which is the carnival, which is another double system. And you have to understand that these systems have been operating for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. It's Caribbean culture, and that's all they understand. And you have to understand that living on an island, you're going to be poverty-stricken because it's an island. You can't produce that much, and you can't do that much. So when the carnival comes around, they pump all their energy into all of these entities that are defined as devils, bro, or revolutionary entities that were reversed. You know, like Queen Anakanoa, who was the queen of the Taino Indians. When Nicholas Anavano showed up, her name got turned into Anaconda, which is the python snake. The python snake's name, Anaconda, comes from Queen Anakanoa, and Anakanoa, the word, which is the Taino word, means golden flower. So they reverse the energies. And that's done all the way through the whole voodoo system. They reverse the energies. But what you got to understand is that these cats be dancing around on islands with helmets and horns on their heads.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and painted in oil and painted in tar and wearing chains and all this other shit and acting scary to the tourists and all this other stuff, man. It's, you know, it's really disgusting, bro. But anyways, so when they brought us to America, they destroyed the voodoo all the way out. They depleted it, and then didn't educate us about no Catholicism, which was already embedded into our systems. So we automatically fell into this new space of Christian, which is the dead zone.
Okay.
You see? So now that the Christian psyche is being developed, the Negro has one or two chances, either voodoo or Catholicism, B.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to a psychological reliance that is spiritual, that is a spiritual system. Now that I've brought the whole Catholicism through and the Nipsey Hussle went down and all of that was Catholic too, it's all, you know.
I see.
Yeah.
I didn't know you taught my Nipsey Hussle. I'm not sure if I'm still subscribed to your channel. I got to find you again. Because you know how YouTube be tripping, they be unsubscribing and unregistering the bell for a lot of people that put out content, which I'm starting to notice. You know, especially dealing with that science, that metaphysics, that, you know, that deep shit. You know what I mean? Say, oh, no, this nigga's talking some deep shit. I mean, unbell. I'm not sure what I'm thinking. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm thinking Negro is a dangerous Negro. You know what I'm saying? And then he starts to investigate more. You know? I mean, that's why I advocate most people should read more. And it's funny, I'm looking right now in the page of the pictures of the popes of Rome, how they kissing the Black Madonna. Do they really gain anything kissing the Black Madonna, the so-called black woman?
Yeah, see, what's happening here is, bro, is you're looking at sensitivity and you're looking at, fragility. You're looking at, care. You're looking at meditation. You're looking at humbleness. You're looking at submission. You're looking at the honorage. You're looking at a lot of things when you see this type of stuff, bro. It's not that you're just looking at him sitting there kissing no doll. If you can't see all the other outlets, you have to go through a lot of stories of the saints to understand the emotional structures of passions and all that other stuff, man. Because I'm going to tell you right now, the majority of people don't got it, bro. And that's why, this type of stuff has never been brought to the world, bro. Because, right, they don't got the sustenance. They don't got human thinking. You can't read the stories of the saints without falling in love, bro. And if you can't fall in love, then you're just a natural devil, B.
Oh, so I have to not just read, but to feel it. Like, when we talked last time.
Yeah, like, if I was to tell you the story about Saint Vitus, who's an 8-year-old child who was boiled to death because he wouldn't give up his allegiance or his belief in Christ. He was boiled to death, B. And that's what I'm saying. Like, they got paintings behind all of these things, and they got, I could show you, And then you also got to understand that there's a large line that none of these saints may had existed at all.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but see? You see what just happened?
Yeah.
You see what just happened? You was already in the zone. That the saints is real. But that's the whole thing. There's a higher understanding. There's a lot of alchemical levels of what's going on here. So when you get to the line that you understand that none of these saints may have existed, what are they talking about? What are they doing? They've conquered the human psyche map of existence and time. So what I'm telling you is that each saint is a different representation of the possibilities that a human may go through, and they're all aligned to a certain day, which is correlated with those energies. So each day of the year, there's about 10 to 20 saints that are dedicated to that day, which is a feast day, and that feast day, each one of those saints represent a different energy that is felt on that day. Right. So then when I divide up all these saints and throw them all across the planet and have people worshiping everywhere, put the saints on the hospitals, put the saints on the streets, they collect the birth, they collect the death, they do all, the energy is there, the blood is there, boom. It's a big-ass map, bro.
Shit.
Yeah, you see? Bro, there's rivers named after saints. Like, you can't, bro. My homeboy showed me some shit the other day. Springfield Armory. They got it, and I've been meaning to talk about this on a video, and I haven't. So I might as well do it here. They named some guns after St. Victor. So I go look up who St. Victor was because I never heard of him. All the St. Victors are black saints. Okay. And one of them is connected to Corona, Saint Corona. Saint Corona, which is also another variation of the word horn, is the saint that stands over money and gambling and bad money problems. But they named a whole line of guns after Saint Victor, and that's who all these saints are. And each one of these saints has something that's correlated with war. Or aggression or some shit like that, The elements that are connected to war, too. Because you have to understand, bro, it's high-level alchemy. Yeah. In all reality, bro, a lot of people aren't ever going to get it. Because you got to go through a lot of information to get it.
But it goes back to we have to recondition our minds. We have to really start over. And I'm full advocate. And this is my thing with a lot of people that gone through universities, and you did say before that some of the scholars have been university educated. And my problem with a lot of people that go to school, especially get certain degrees and try to present information to people, that they're stuck in a box. Now that I think about it, because they're not really going outside of parameters that they've been institutionalized for a long time. So long you go through this so-called education or de-education system. You get me?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you look at, I know you're not no college graduate, but from what your own experience, you have actually gone through and deciphered certain things and made it clear through rigorous work, understanding, and feeling, too, you know?
Well, there's a lot of things to it. Oh, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
Yeah, but so this is what I'm getting. But go on. You would say, because I'm going to lose my train of thought a little bit. Go ahead.
Oh, well, all I was going to say was, scholasticism is designed to go off of the last professor and whatever the fuck he discovered. I read books from the 1500s, bro.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a difference. Yeah, I don't respect modern day intelligence, bro, by majority rule. Look at what it's done. Look at your,
Yeah. You just cut up. You said it again?
I said, look at the outcome.
Yeah.
The outcome is mental health problems. Everybody's lonely. Bro, did you know that the average city gets about 5,000 calls a year on their 911 just for loneliness, just because people are lonely? Everybody's stuffing their head up in the internet somewhere, dog. Everybody's trying to ignore their existence. Nobody understands how to take on problems. Nobody understands how to come to a common ground, bro. So whatever.
Some people can't communicate no more, Keenan. We have become very desensitized.
Well, I mean, everybody believed on the single mother. So you saw what with that brought.
I ain't gonna lie. That's true. Yeah. Oh, someone. Yeah. Is that my phone? Hold on.
No, that's my phone in the background.
Okay.
But
man. But I get you. All right. I guess that clears up volumes 1, 2, and 3. I can't go any more because I have to read for myself to get that feel better, Yeah.
There's over 120 Black Madonnas in there. There's a lot of saints up in there, and a lot of black saints in there. There's, you're going to feel it. And if you don't feel it, then I failed, But you're going to feel the energy and the power that's up in there.
Oh, one thing that came to my mind. Have you been aware that a church was burned down that was around since the 1700s or maybe longer, older? One church in Europe was burned down.
You talking about the Notre Dame Cathedral?
Yes.
Yeah.
Was there any purpose into that burning? Was there anything lost that they didn't want nobody to know?
No, I didn't look up the after effects. That book, that church is connected to that third volume on a lot of heavy principles. The Black Madonna that you see when you first open up the book, called Our Lady of the Good Death, is actually the first. She's Notre Dame of Bon la Mort. Bon la Mort is how you say it.
Okay.
And she is the first Black Madonna outside that cathedral, or the first cathedral to reach outside of the one that burned down.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that same Black Madonna is also the Black Madonna of the Sisterhood of Our Lady of the Good Death, which is located in Brazil, and which is also a Yoruba sisterhood. Yeah.
Interesting. That's what's up. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So a lot of my advertisements have the gargoyles and also the stained glass from that cathedral.
Okay. All right. So this is what I'm going to do, because you were such a good guest. I'm going to open it up a little bit. I know these ladies are going to get at your throats, Keenan, I think you said some things. I'm not sure if you're ready.
Yeah, let's make it quick because I got to scurry up out of here. So come on.
All right. So I'm open one line. Then I'm gonna start waking my. I kind of want people to talk back for it. All right, open one line.
Hi, it's Gigi again. I'm not going after nobody. I wanted to ask the guest, where did you get the desire and the interest in writing your first book, Kicked Out of Heaven?
Oh, well, that wasn't my first book. My first book was my autobiography, The Black Man's Bible. And where I got the inspiration for Kicked Out of Heaven was because I started a career that I started a career as an author, and I needed to sell some hot material. I needed some material that was going to long last, that was going to ride along and last for a while, and I understood as the human mind is based off of sex and violence, so let's get to it, and then not only that, I had my own personal questions on, who these cats were, shit, how they running this shit. You wasn't going to fool me with no president, no voting. And I wasn't going to, I didn't understand no slavery. I wasn't going to believe none of that. So I needed to understand the psychological status at the times that allowed and enforced you to do what you were doing. I started out and Kicked Out of Heaven is really defined how black is defined in the white mind, how the color black, not necessarily people, because I started doing the research right around Obama's last year of presidency, and they were shooting up black men everywhere all across the country. I understood that the color black was objectified in their mind and not necessarily attached to the person. So I needed to step inside the mind to see through the eyes. And I'm telling you right now, the reason why you see these multitude of situations of white men shooting up police officers, shooting up black men, and you will continue to see, is because they do not see them as humans, because they are not maintaining human habits.
Do you think that it's like a ritual, like it could be part of some type of ritual?
No, it's not any ritual. Well, the ritual for them is killing the devil.
So black people are the devil?
Yeah, basically, if you really want to get deep down to it, I mean, right now in Africa, they're hunting down albinos and selling their body parts for magic. Those are your ancestors.
They've been doing that for thousands of years, though.
Yeah, exactly. So we've been devil for thousands of years then, because they're doing it right now. And they don't have any electricity, they don't have any plumbing, but they think they can chop up albino people for magic that isn't even giving them shoes.
Well, they think that albinos have some special.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what they think, because they're inadequate when it comes to production and when it comes to responsibility.
But you don't think that you might be mixing reality with spiritual beliefs?
That is the reality. The reality is that your spiritual beliefs are defunct because they're doing nothing for you. And they have you classified as the devil by the world view, and the world view is correct because you are behind. That's the bottom line. The history proves it. The kings of Africa were selling their wives that they had at hundreds. They had hundreds of wives. They sell them. And then after they got done selling, when they ran out of wives, they sold their own tribesmen, too. They sold their own tribal brother.
Come on, these are the doctors. Most men would sell their wives if they could get away with it.
Huh? What'd you say?
Never mind, I'm sorry. I was just
No, what you said, CG? What you said?
Don't you think most men would sell their wives if they could get away with it?
Yeah, that's the basis of our monetary system. It's called cuckoldry. That's going to be my next 3-volume series. I understand that side of it, too.
It's called what?
Cuckoldry.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well,
yeah.
That's going to be
You knew what that
was, huh? Yeah. A laugh a minute. Yep.
Roll.
All right, let me open the next line.
Rodney, take my wife, please. You're gonna the subtitle's going to be "Take My Wife, Please."
What did you say? Say that again.
I said the subtitle's going to be "Take My Wife, Please."
No, the subtitle is, no. If you really want to know the name of that book is called The Hex and Hammer, The Ancient Science of Cuckoldry.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds interesting.
Well, it's going to be very interesting, trust me.
But did you have a difficult time with the first book, like when Mama's Boy gave the show Kicked Out of Heaven based on your book?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the images were so, to me anyway, I don't know, difficult to look at, but necessary because you wouldn't believe it if you didn't see what people put their minds towards torturing another human being.
Well, yeah, that is the nature of the beast.
That was kind of,
that's just humans. I mean, it's everywhere. We've been doing it for eons. We've been skilling and pilling and boiling each other and frying and cooking babies and doing the whole shit. Everybody. It doesn't matter what time period you look at. It doesn't matter what region or what race you want to point your finger at. We all get down with it. You best believe it. Everybody.
Yeah, I know.
All right, Gigi, let me take next caller.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you.
All right, next caller. Who's this?
Hey there, fellas. It's been really interesting. And I would like to engage Mr. Booker on something that he said.
Put that off.
Hear his reasoning on another point that was raised earlier.
What? Are you being serious right now, or are you coming in here clowning, bro?
Sir, please, I don't do that. I never. I had a very serious question, and that has to do with the fact that, number one, what you brought up earlier about the relative contributions of men and women to civilization, I would like to elaborate upon and get your opinion about it. I'm serious. I'm not here to troll.
No, go ahead.
Right,
so, I'm sorry about that, but go ahead.
Well, I don't think you said this specifically, but I'd like to say it specifically, that when you look at the most dangerous professions that there are, the ones that are essential to maintain civilization, I'm talking about things like logging, fishing, roofers, electrical workers, iron and steel workers, and the like, that sort of profession. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, 6 men per 100,000 die doing their jobs, whereas you compare it to women, it's 0.6. So in other words, a man is about 1,200 times more likely to die in the course of doing his job than a woman is, and many of these jobs are essential to civilization. Now, that's not a knock on women. It's just a matter of fact. Right. It is men that maintain and support civilization. And when I hear all this talk about toxic masculinity, which is all the rage these days, I would like to point out there is no such thing as toxic masculinity. There's only masculinity and femininity, which are two sides of the human coin, and neither can be toxic. There are people that are toxic, whether they're men or whether they're women. And when you were talking earlier about the people in the past having respect for what they said, it got me to thinking about the whole controversy about sophistry,
right,
which, of course, was condemned by Socrates through Plato in his dialogues. And as we know, what arose out of, or which was defined out of that controversy, was philosophy as opposed to sophistry, was considered to be specious and deceptive. And I'd like you to speak to both of those issues.
That it was being vicious and deceptive? That
sophistry is generally considered to be specious and deceptive as opposed to philosophy, which is an honest attempt at the nature of knowledge. And
okay, I get what you're saying. So let's shoot at it. And I'm glad you went there, because the Ethereal Law book was compared to Parmenides, who was pre-Socraterian era and started the metaphysical branch called ontology, ontology was where my book Ethereal Law was classified under, and I didn't know what it was, so I had to go research it. Come to find out, Harvard and Yale and the big universities, they use this area for business analysis, for analytics, and a couple of other fields use the same course as part of their philosophical build for what field they're taking out, and that's also the surgeons. I saw a couple of medical departments that did it as well. So what's happening here is that philosophy is the study of human behavior. And it's the guesstimations that usually by 90% are correct from a long line of observation of human activity. And this is individual activity and also social and group activity. There's war philosophy. There's medicine philosophy. There's different forms of philosophy. But all of these different forms of philosophy are definitely relied upon with human interaction, okay? And usually these predictions are going to be correct. And some of them are wrong, and some of them will change as society changes and thinking patterns change. So, in today's format, logic, which is a vice, a machine, you have to understand that things like logic and reason and common sense, clarity, these things are machines. They're vices. They're machines. They're a device. A device is a logo. Logo devices you. They take away your vice. They take away your want to do evil work. So when you walk inside my store, my device is above the door, I automatically take away your evil ideas by seeing the logo, and you're going to go inside my store and spend money. You see? Yeah, bro. There's all types of twirling machines right in front of you that you don't even know is twirling.
Well,
and that's one of them.
I think we're in the midst of a wave of sophistry unlike any seen in human history. But I'd like to ask you again about that issue of men and their contribution to civilization, and why would so many of these snowflake women take it personally when we point out the fact of what men do to maintain civilization.
Okay, well, here's the thing, man. Women don't have the comprehension of complexity externally. They can do this in the social realm, and that's where they wrap the tornado. That's where all the witch work and the flying on the broom and all of that stuff comes from. Is imposing the headache and imposing the knot on your mind, which is the everyday operation. You have to understand that they do not see what they're doing, for number one. And for number two, their response right now could be looked at as a behavioral response from the trauma that they've been getting clocked inside their head for the past thousands of years, bro, and they're upset about it. They've been through so many different forms of trauma that you've actually designed the finite warrior without you understanding it. Because they've been through every form of trauma, from losing their husbands, having babies ripped away from them, sold in and out of slavery, sex in all different types of formats, being slaughtered right after sex, being slaughtered during the course of sex, having derogatory names being called on them in society. They've become immune to all of these things. You see, so now that we live in a society that has erased all witchcraft and all cuckoldry words out of the English language, they have freedom to run their mouth. And because they have freedom to run their mouth, and you are not educated about witchcraft or cuckoldry or true socialism and the matrix understanding of how this program works that we live in, you are going to have the knots around your head. You will be emasculated, as also circumcision is designed for you not to be able to please a woman and for you to get back to work instead of fucking the cut.
Yeah, and another thing too that I want you to speak to, and I don't know if I buy into this thesis or not, but I heard it expressed some time ago, and I think it was pretty compelling. I'm not saying that I completely bought it, but the author's essential point was that all of humanity, and I mean all of it, is descended in whole or in part by women who submitted to conquerors. And this might explain, to some extent, the nature of women and why they respond to many things in which the way they do. Now, what do you think about that, and what do you think about that vis-a-vis men? Do you think there's any validity to it or not?
Humans don't have a nature. So it's really going to be based upon the law that we agree upon. humans don't have a nature. They have a culture that may be developed over a long line of different events that happen and things that they all agree upon that's enforced by astrology and the specific constellation that they live under. So when it comes to how we operate with women, that's going to be an agreed upon situation. And it's going to be agreed upon by the men, as it was in Africa, as it was in ancient Greece, as it was in medieval times. The whole thing, the distortion that you're seeing right now is that women have developed a plan to develop male protectors. And these male protectors are the beta males, the emasculated males, and homosexual males. You see? Yeah, and they developed them through multitude of different generations, dog, right in front of you. So single motherism is the design of the warrior that attacks you. That is the beta male. That is the shitty cuz. That is the retard degenerate that can't have proper sex, so he's automatically jealous of you. And not only that, subconsciously you were the image that was supposed to raise him, so now he wants to destroy you because you were never there before, and you let the female smother his life. Understand, women smothering a child's life, which is the true python that suffocates.
Well, what do you think about that line from Conan the Barbarian? I'm sure you've seen it. I'm talking about the original Conan the Barbarian. Where I forget the whole line, but the final phrase in it is, and hear the lamentations of their women. He's referring to conquest and people being conquered, because let's face it, back in ancient times, people that didn't get killed, the ones they allowed to survive, the children and the women, they got taken by the people who did the conquering.
Yeah.
And were assimilated into the tribe, group, or clan.
Yeah, same with the Taino Indians. The Taino Indians let their women run free, and they decreased from 2 million to 50,000 within 20 years.
That is true.
That's a lot.
I do think there's something to it. I'm not exactly
sure. That
sure
happened on the Haiti Island. That's what the Spaniards
I think
did.
there's something to it, and I see it more and more when I see what's going on in Sweden and Norway and all these women accepting, or many women being willing to accept rape in order to maintain this notion of multiculturalism.
Well,
they got all throughout Europe.
Women have a desire for rape, and that goes back to caveman time periods where that's what we did, And that's also, you have to also understand that women have a guaranteed mind frame. So a rape is the highest form of desire.
I don't know if I'm going to go that far yet, but I do think
I know,
and
that's why we've lost respect, too, because we're not going that far. That is the full ultimate chase. That is the hunt. You do not ask when you desire. You take. A lion doesn't ask.
Conquest is certainly the nature of human beings for most of our existence. There ain't no doubt about that. That is an undoubted for sure, period, no doubt. Before there was the United Nations or a League of Nations or any of this other stuff, or Geneva Conventions or whatever, the nature of human existence was conquest. I mean for everybody.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, thank you, Sarge. I know there's any other questions. My question, I'm going to wrap this up.
Because I got to go, so go on.
It's actually a few. But one thing I noticed, you noticed this Me Too thing that happened last year, right? That was started off from a black sister, and then eventually it branched off to white females. And all of a sudden, I heard now they kind of address now with the workforce. Well, if you notice, lately there was something posted, a video about some women were complaining that they were not getting certain offers or certain positions like they used to because of this. Is that a result that most men, because of this gynocentric business that we're in, that they decide, since women want to play hard to get?
No, women are financial threats. There ain't nobody playing no hard to get. Look, this whole relationship shit is based on money, first of all. If you don't have the money, then you need a partner to survive. Okay, now we can do all the lovey-dovey stuff, and there is a natural chord to it as well that you have to have children and populate and all of that other stuff. But women don't abide by nature because nature states that us as mammals are polygamous. All mammals are polygamous. And women don't want to abide by that because they've been told that they don't have to. And they've been told they don't have to by what they think is the state. The state is the social order. The social order is brought to them by HBO, TV, and all of that other shit. So they follow whatever the state says because the state is going to be the reliable condition they go to if the husband runs off and they're stuck with 5 children. They have to go to the state. They have to go to the community. So a woman will always be 50% community and then 50% her husband. You know, especially this time period, they're going to be 75% 20. You see, they don't, because the state is always going to be more reliable than the man. The man is unpredictable because you could go out here. Yeah, you can go out here, you know, be mad at the stoplight, you know, get arrested, get shot up. I don't know what's going to happen to you. And women don't do shit. They don't have to do shit because they got a cunt, and every man's going to hunt for the cunt and break bread and take care of them for it. You know, so they don't have to read, which automatically, by default, puts them in animal space. They don't have to read. They don't have to have science. They don't have to have math because they have beauty, and that's what you want. And if they don't have beauty, they at least got booty, whether it's hairy or not. You still want it. Because that's just the nature of the situation. So, you know. Yeah, so that's just how things are operating right now. We've fallen out of nature, and a lot of people don't want to be agreeable, and they don't want to come to common grounds with their mates. So it's going to be uprisal. You know, women are extremely blind. They always have been. That's been the historical lineup. Women aren't going to be able to see until, you know, they've been fucked 100 times. You know, by one dude or many. But they're going to have to get fucked hard for them to get the fog peeled off of the brain. You know, because they got a lot of Walt Disney, and that's another thing. Walt Disney has raised all the women that you're dealing with today. So.
Yes, a lot of television, and I don't know if you recommend Keenan Booker that with children, I don't know if you do this with your own children, that is it fair to say there should not be no television set in household at this time because of the mind of people?
Well, I mean, yeah, but then at the same time, you still got to be connected to the state. You still got to be connected to people, B. I mean, either way it goes, you know, there's a lot of dumbasses out here, but if people don't, you know, want to heal themselves or are seeking for it, then there's just going to be issues. You know, the main issue is going to be found in the whole sexual line, B. A lot of people ain't doing the booty, bro, and therefore they got a lot of brain congestion. You know, sexual fluid is created in the mind, but it's created in the brain. And when you got too many entities in your brain, which sex fluid, the sperm, each sperm is an entity. You got 7 million entities. You got all that shit loaded up in your body. It's communicating with you all the time and talking. So then your brain is filled with babble, and you have no clarity. You see, the sexual secretions have entities inside of them. So if you don't get that shit out of your body, then you're fucked.
Yeah, well, you already, yeah. So it's always natural, man. I gotta go out and say I got bust nut and some of these chicks.
Yeah, then not only that, there's supposed to be a form of worship that is exchanged between male and female, which boosts the self-esteem and keeps the cleanliness around the house. It keeps the cleanliness of the hygiene, you know, all of that, you know. So people are degenerating, bro. They're the only species on the planet that degenerates itself, the human, you see.
Shit. All right, Keenan, you know, we've almost been on here for over 2 hours now. Before we wrap up, anywhere of any projects to come to wrap up 2019 with you?
Yeah, any projects? I mean, whatever you want to do.
Like any works that you're going to be releasing?
Oh, yeah, the Real Nigga Advocate Voodoo Edition is coming out July 11th. It should be on time. Hopefully the Poltergeist will be on time, too, which is the album that is combined with it. Mm-hmm. The book is ridiculous, man. I mean, the stuff that I found out is disheartening, bro.
Wow.
Yeah, man. My whole life is about to change after this.
Seriously, Keenan?
Oh, yeah, I'm very serious, bro, because there are a lot of things that I'm discovering, bro. I mean, for instance, bro, African tribes didn't even link up to fight a common enemy, just like the NOI and Hebrew Israelites won't link up to fight about the same common enemy that they complain about, bro. Get out of here, bro.
Yeah, I know. I've been aware of that for some time.
That's what I'm saying. The slavery, dog, didn't do nothing to no Negro thinking, dog. Niggas try to blame all that shit on slavery. There's a real reason why black scholars have never told you anything. I don't even know if they knew. But, I got names of the slave ships, names of the slavers, who sent them, what monarchy was it ruled, what second, like, dog, get the fuck out. I got so much detailed information on the shit, bro. There's no way we should have not known this shit eons ago, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And you know, it's disheartening, bro.
So next question, is this book going to be just as thick? Like how I got your previous book, like in this format?
Nah. It's actually Real Nigga Etiquette, the Voodoo edition. So what happened is I kept all the philosophy to it, and then in the back, it's about 100 pages strong of all the info. It's just facts, bro. And I'm putting
okay. Oh, then that's a must get. I'm definitely going to get that.
It's small. It's a book that you can put in your pocket and you know. But I'm talking about a lot of the magic. I'm going over it, but I'm talking about the high-level alchemy and magic. I'm not going in on Loas and what to do with chickens and shit. I don't care about none of that shit. Because, to be honest, all of that stuff is embarrassing, bro. I mean, bro, like I said, the guy's not even putting shoes on their feet. Right now, 2019, there are 248,000 slaves in Haiti. Right now.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
Did you hear me? 248,000 slaves are documented in Haiti today, as we speak. Bro, what is it doing for you?
Yeah. Oh, and one book I'll probably refer to, because I know you're a reader. You were aware of a book called The Daughters of the Trade by Miss. Let me find her name. Let me find her name.
No, but I do know they were called the dogs. They were called the Spanish dogs and shit, yeah.
But this is written by a Caucasoid woman by the name of, here it is. Cornelie Aspin. It's called The Daughters of the Trade. It deals with Atlantic slave trade, interracial marriage on the Gold Coast. Some that she revealed, and this book came out in 2015 or 2016, one of the years. But it gave some serious information about the Africans at the time when they were intermingling with non-black people and participating in the slave trade, like you said before. That information was out a couple years back, you know? But there's a lot of things that's not been talked about our history that is being uncovered. You see, we have to understand the good, what do you call it, the good, the bad, and the ugly of history. And a lot of people are not ready for it, Keenan.
Bro, let me tell you something. It's not even about if we're ready for it. We don't have enough numbers in our race that's taking any of this type of stuff serious. So even if you were ready for it, or if I'm ready for it, like I did the 3-volume series on medieval, the rest of our race isn't going to do anything about it, bro. They're not reading.
Yeah, you're right. They're not reading. And I advocate most of it, especially with the children. And I find with a lot of women, like Mr. B just, when I had him on, when I said women do read, but they don't like to read, and if they don't like to read, they're not going to read to their children. So that's why when you go to every household,
going up to these
children, there is no bookshelf now.
Bro, let me show you something, bro. When these ships were showing up to these islands and to these tribes, the majority of them, like the Taino Indians, they couldn't count past 20. You know, like, dog, these cats already had libraries and ships and stuff, bro. Like, dog, it's not in some people's system. I'm telling you. By majority rule, it's not in our system, bro. It's not. You know, they're just happy workers, bro. And that's just the line they're supposed to be in, I guess.
Yeah,
bro, leave it alone. Like, man, I don't want to tell anybody to, you know, leave it alone, do whatever you want to do, but I'm for real about everything I do and say, man. And one thing I don't do with life is beat no dead horse, bro.
Yeah, I feel you. Yeah, I'm in viewing you, and you don't really beat. You try to lay it out. If you don't know, you don't know, but you just keep it honest, you know.
Yeah, man. I mean, people don't expect no honesty. Humans want you to lie to them. And the reason humans want you to lie to them is because that means you thought about them first. And you thought about their feelings and how they were going to respond. You want to get something from them. You're making them feel important when you lie to them. That's what I'm telling you, bro. If you really get down to the way this shit really operates, man, it is a disgusting picture. And I'm there. Humans want you to lie to them, dog. Truth is not good. Because when you bring truth, that means you break down their magic system. And every human has their own magic system. And their magic system is their habits and their communication towards you. Their habits around you and their, It's a bunch of bullshit, bro. It's all bullshit. It's all full of shit. And that's why the white race is balling and everybody else around here basketball and got a favorite fucking team. It's fucking full of shit, bro. This is what I'm telling you, dog. The levels I get this shit is out of this world right now, dog.
Yeah. One last question I want to ask. I talked to my online quickly. Those books that you get that's like old as pie, you have to search and buy those books, those ones that's like from the 600s, or you have to go search online?
Yeah. You gotta search and buy them.
They don't hold those books in Washington, D.C.? I know they keep some old books there.
I mean, you can find some of them on ebook online. They're on there for free. But I buy a lot of old books, too. You can find them on eBay, people's old estates, old soldiers that die and shit. Got old books from when they was in China and other locations and shit. I get real material, B. That's why the medieval books stand. Ain't nobody contested that shit, because that shit is real info, And you also got to understand that a lot of these books were republished over time, and their original published date might be like the 1500s, and then, you got it today, published in a book from somebody who republished it. You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah. I got one book that was republished back in the early 30s, but that's another story. Let me open this last line, because we're going to wrap this up.
This is the last question that I got to bounce.
Yeah. Who's this?
I'm sorry, it's Gigi again. There's a young lady in the chat named Callie Ray, and she wanted to ask, why is there slavery still going on in Haiti?
Well, because, man, to be honest, the metaphysics and the way it's set up, Haiti, look at the word. The word hate is in it. The devil is there. They got some cold devil shit going on. All of them. And they represent that shit, and they hold that shit dearly out there. And that is the battery that got us all fucked up in American culture right now, B. Because there's too much devil encoding. And then we went through that zone in order to get to America. So all the ritualistic shit that was done in those islands was all to encode devilistic shit in us.
Okay, but so that's why there's so many slaves still in Haiti today?
Yeah, because they doing whatever they want to down there. There's no control, just like Africa, no control. They don't know who's ruling what, who's doing what, when. The politics system is all fucked up. I didn't mean to cuss, but the politics system is off. The industrial system is off. It's all off. Everything is off. Nobody's focused, and that must be the biological situation. And if that is the biological situation, and the devil is asking for unity and has never had it in their history, that even makes it more the devil, because you're promoting some fantasy shit. You're promoting fantasy, because it's never been there. Like I said, if you can't unify against a common enemy, it is not there. It's not in your thinking pattern. It's not in your genetics. It's not in your biology. Not there. You have to make it there. And you can embed things in your DNA, but it's going to take 50 to 100 years, and you have to do it all at one race at one time, and there's going to have to be some hardcore rituals that go down.
What?
All right.
Yeah, you can change your DNA as a race, and it would take about 100 years to do it. 100 to 200 years to do it. And you would have to do it real hardcore. You have to do it by individual principles, too.
Yeah, but you know, Kenny, we're not gonna go too deep in that. That'll be for maybe.
Yeah, I know ain't nobody gonna go too deep in that. That's right.
No.
I know.
Not Gary. It was too deep.
But Gigi, chill. But let me stop this. All right, we gone through. We came, we see, we conquer, and we dazzle y'all minds tonight. I'd like to thank Keenan Booker again for coming aboard, laying out this wonderful book, the 3-volume set. I recommend everybody get their copy, not just one volume, get the whole entire copy for your mind. God damn it. You know what I'm saying? Understand it. Feel it. Learn it. Because I know most people are spooked about spiritual stuff. This will clear up for now, for y'all. So please read. Reading is fundamental. I tell you. I know I did. You know. So thank you again, Keenan Booker, for being my guest. We did it again, and like I said, I might get that book once it's released, because it draws my curiosity. And hell, I might bring it back just to talk about that. Who knows? You know. You know. So you know.
All right, then. Good time there. I got to get up out of here.
All right. Until next time, I'll talk to you next time. All right, Keenan Booker? Thank you.
All right.
Yeah. And I'd like to thank everybody for calling in for your questions and answers and participating in today's show. Tune in next time when I, drop down more of that information, maybe some science or, current events. Who knows what's going to be expected here on my channel, on the show. Other than that, thank you for listening. Good night now. Take care.
Comment, subscribe, and like the video. And like always, let the chaos reign.